Yo, 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 got a Sportsman 500 HO 2003 Polaris, and the handbrake ends up getting soft. You ride it for a while, it gets soft. And so, I figured could be the master cylinder, could be something going on up there. Otherwise, maybe something I've had it where a bad wheel bearing or something, pushes on the disc, pushes on the caliper there and opens it up. This thing here, I don't think wheel bearings and stuff have ever been done, but you can see this wheel bearing actually is loose. Really hard to do it now with the wheel off, but it moves. And the deal is the caliper is mounted to this hub housing, and then your disc and your rotor and your wheel is actually independent of that, and that's with the bearing. And looks like here too we got more of an issue. We got a cracked rotor, cracked disc. So probably all sorts of things. And with this wheel bearing being bad, maybe it really stressed on that, really bent it, caused it to get hot. So all that stuff. And yeah, this caliper is kind of junk. So I'll get this apart. We'll have to replace this disc. We'll replace that. We'll get in there and mess with the bearings. And another thing, this master cylinder for the foot pedal is junk. Those all seem to get pretty bad. So we'll kind of go through and replace all this stuff. Just taking these guys off here, 7/16. You just crack them loose here with a vice grip first. This thing got pretty hot. You can see in there, everything's all rotten, heat stroked, rubber's all fried, brakes all bent. All right, so taking this off, fairly straightforward. Take the snap ring out, and then you'll replace it with the bearing. That one there is pretty loose. Here's a new one. You can see they are like double wide bearings. There, that's what it'll look like. Pull that snap ring out, and I don't know if that's pressed in or not. It might not be too bad. I might have to press it out, pulling it out, whatever, and then put your new one in. But that should be fairly straightforward. This cracked disc, gonna have to pull that off, put a different disc on there. The brake, the deal with the brake, this thing here is stuck tight to this, so I'm gonna figure out how to do that. Every time I want to turn on this, it's kind of bending that cable. And then there, that front master cylinder is done, so that one there is pretty straightforward. So we'll just keep pounding away. So I was able to break this loose by holding this one end here with a vice grip, and then take my 7/16 wrench and just slowly work it back and forth. And I got it to the point now where it kind of moves, and we're just gonna have to keep this lubed. You can see that's about all it moves. So just keep lubing it and just keep twisting it and try and get that freed up. Just like that, was able to save it. This all spins freely. We got lucky. Didn't flatten this too bad. Got lucky and saved it, but it's just good to have that freed up. So I got the snap ring out, and what I did to get this bearing out, the bearing was in here. What I did to get the bearing out, I had a piece of metal that just happened to barely fit around there. This is an old disc off something. So I had it like that, and I had this here, pounded the bearing out. That all worked out good. And yeah, it's probably not a good idea to pound this in, but I can throw it on the old press and I'll just press it in. That should work. Throw the snap ring in there, and then that part should be done. So we got that part done, got the bearing in. It's all nice and tight, it's not all wobbled out. So that part's good. We'll throw this back on and just start putting stuff back together. And then I gotta get a disc yet, so I gotta do some looking for that here. All right, we got disc time here. Open your new disc. Put the disc on the hub. And when this goes on, when this gets installed the way it was before, the leading hole was the higher one, so on and so forth. Then next thing, get your caliper on, slide everything up, put the bolts in, put the axle nut on, put the 2 bolts in for the caliper. So then you're ready to start bleeding the brakes, and same thing, just got a 5/16 or 8mm back there on the caliper. And then when pumping the handbrake, you know, it's kind of hard to do yourself unless you got somebody handy that can help you out. But I just pump it. I got this cup. Pump it up, slide the cup on there, go back there and bleed the brake. There you have it, boys. Should be ready to roll. It's all good to go. The brakes are nice and tight. Thanks for watching. Again, stay tuned.